Artemesia Gentileschi was born in 1593, the daughter of the painter Orazio. She died in 1656. A post-Caravaggio Baroque painter, she was the first female artist, probably through the influence of her father, to become a member of that closely guarded male enclave, the Academy of Art and Design, Florence. The fact that she was raped by an older man who was hired as an assistant, and that she insisted on his prosecution, a case she eventually won after a humiliating public examination to see if she was a virgin before the rape. Duh, what's that about? She did manage to go on and have a life as a painter. Obviously, this traumatic experience was to affect her, but it did not define her. Most historians have declared her feisty handling in paintings such as Judith slaying Holofernes as merely unbridled anger, wishes for revenge. And if she was angry at men after her trauma, who could blame her? So be it. But we shouldn't let this divert us from the power of her work. Artemesia achieves much more than clumsy anger and revenge. She shows real women performing a grisly task. In the first painting, the woman is more strained. In the second, she is coolly detached, but determined this man shall get his dues. If we compare her versions of Judith to that of her forerunner Caravaggio, by whom she was influenced, but never to the extent that she did not bring her own vision and talent, her own personal female eye, to the work, we see how much more of this world, the world of real women, hers is. Caravaggio's painting depicts a less mature, more innocent woman. Perhaps this is the way men like to think of women. Her expression is vexed, as though in her innocence she has been coerced into the deed, no doubt led by the other cliché of the female, the ugly hag beside her. No such hag is to be seen in Gentileschi's version. Her helpers are women, like Judith herself, ordinary, everyday women in an extraordinary situation. Many artists have painted this scene with Judith, and while some, like the Kranich, are charming and lovely, they remain remote and aloof from the female experience. Back in the not-so-golden olden times, it was considered to be wrong for a woman to depict biblical scenes, as she simply was not up to it, or much else in art. If we ask how a god could make 50% of the population on the earth he was supposed to have created as not up to the task of being equal to men in the visual arts and all else, we are greeted with a stony silence. What sort of flawed god is this, who designs half his people to be so handicapped? Not much of a designer, never mind creator. There is nothing creative in having half the population of the world so impaired. The self-portrait, in which Gentileschi depicts herself as a painter in the act of painting, is said to be based on Caravaggio's painting of Narcissus. The connection with the composition is correct, but I do not believe that the painter intended us to think that her love of painting is a narcissistic act. To this day, the cavalier hierarchy who have controlled the art world since its inception flinch at the idea that a woman might have the ability and the desire to paint from the female point of view, and not in a tradition that has banished women for so long. They find 1,000 reasons to put her and her work down as inferior and unimportant. So whilst dragging up every excuse they can think of to belittle female painters and deride their subject choices, We can come to our own more enlightened opinions of what is what, when it comes to the potential and real achievements of the few women in the history of art who managed to make art. There are more female painters out there than we've been led to believe, and much more to art than the narrow constraints of those few who have taken charge and have decided what is and is not art, including a square of bricks on a gallery floor. The dictatorial manner of their overbearing power has seduced us into thinking they know it all, and they are right. They do not know it all, and they are not always right. Artemesia painted many subjects and did it well. She is one of the finest Baroque painters of her time. However, the art mandarins have found every possible means to slight her and belittle her, if they ever mention her at all, that is. She is an unwanted intruder into their closely guarded clique. They might even hope she and her work will go away. But the work of Artemesia Gentileschi has not gone away, despite all of this. And the fact that she has never had a major retrospective in any of the large, influential galleries of the world is something that we hope will change. We have all heard of Caravaggio and all the other greats of that epoch. Now it is time to put Artemesia Gentileschi up there with them.